Good day to everyone. So from our first video, we discussed about expressing fraction to decimal form. So today, we will discuss it the opposite, expressing decimal to fraction form. So how do we do that? A decimal is changed to a fraction by using its digits as the numerator and selecting an appropriate power of 10 as the denominator. The fraction can be changed to lowest terms when possible. For you to understand that further, let's have an example. For our first example, we will express 0.25 in fraction form. So first draw a horizontal line, or what you call the fraction bar, and then write 0.25 as our numerator and write 1 as our denominator. Then we will make the 0.25 into a whole number by moving the decimal places going to the right. So 1, 2. So we move 2 decimal places, which means we will add 2 zeros on the denominator. 1, 2. Since we have 0 as the first digit of 0.25, so we can now remove that since 0.25 now is a whole number. So we will write 25 over 100. Then we will simplify now our fraction by simply looking for the greatest common factor, or GCF. The greatest common factor of 25 and 100 is 25. So therefore, we will divide them by 25. So 25 divided by 25 is equal to 1. And then 100 divided by 25 is 4. So therefore, 0.25 is equivalent to 1/4. There you have it. Okay, let's have another example. Let's try 0.3. Let's express 0.3 now as a fraction. So first we will write a fraction bar and 0.3 in the numerator and 1 as a denominator. So again, we will just simply move the decimal places going to the right to make 0.3 as a whole number. So we have 1. Since we only move 1 decimal places, so which means we will only add 1 0. Since 0 is the first digit of 0.3, so we can just remove it. So we will write 3 over 10 or 310. Now, since 310 doesn't have any greatest common factor, so therefore, it's already the simplest form. In other words, 0.3 is equivalent to 3 over 10. So there you have it. If our decimal is a non-terminating repeating decimal, we will follow this formula, wherein n is equal to repeated terms over the number of 9s for the repeated terms. Okay, so let's try this. 5.7. But why do you think 5.7 is a non-terminating repeating decimal? Very good. It is the presence of the vinculum, which means that 7 is a repeating term. But for a while, we will separate first 5.7. Why? Because 5 is a whole number. So we will write 5 plus 0.7 vinculum. So we can now apply the formula wherein n is equal to 5 plus 0.7 vinculum, and then a fraction bar. Now, how many terms that is repeating? Yes, we only have one term, which is 7. So which means we will only add 1 9. Since we already add 9 as a denominator, so we can now write it n is equal to 5 plus 7 over 9. We remove already that 0 and the decimal point because we already have the denominator. Afterwards, check your fraction form. Can we simplify this one? No, of course, because it is already a simplest form. So therefore, we will just combine 5 and 7, 9. So we have now 5 and 7, 9. So 5.7 with vinculum is equivalent to 5 and 7, 9. So there. So let's have another one. Let's try 0 and 352 thousandths with vinculum because this is a non-terminating repeating decimals. Since there is no a whole number, we can just apply the formula right away. So we will write n is equal to 0.352 thousandths. And then, now the question is, how many repeating decimals are there? Yes, we have 3. Why? Because 3, 5, 2 are below the vinculum. So therefore, we have 3 terms which are repeating. In other words, we will write 3 nines. 1, 2, 3. So since we have 0 as the first digit of 0 and 352 thousandths, so we can just remove that one. So we will rewrite it as 3, 5, 2 or 352 over 999. Since 352 over 999 is already the simplest form, so therefore 0 and 352 thousandths with vinculum is equivalent to 352 over 999. So there you have it. The last one we have converting non-terminating repeating decimal with non-repeating and repeating terms to fraction form. So we have n is equal to all terms after decimal minus non-repeating terms is divided to the number of nines for the repeated terms and number of zeros for non-repeating terms. To understand this further, let's jump to the example. So let's try 0 and 75 hundredths with vinculum on top of the 5. Now we will just going to apply the formula wherein n is equal to, now first we will going to write all terms after the decimal point. So we have after the decimal we have 75. So we will write 75 minus the non-repeating terms. So we have the non-repeating terms which is 7 because it doesn't have vinculum on top. So we will write 7. And then for the denominator we have number of nines for the repeated terms. So we only have one repeated terms which is 5. So we will write only 1 9. And then number of zeros for the non-repeating terms. So we also have 1. So we will write 1 0. So let's simplify our equation. So we have n is equal to 75 minus 7 is equal to 68. So we will just copy the denominator. Now in fraction, always simplify it. So we will look for the GCF or the greatest common factor of 68 and 90, which is 2. So therefore, we will simplify them by 2 or divide them. So 68 divided by 2 is equal to 34. Then 90 divided by 2 is equal to 45. Since this cannot no longer be simplified, so therefore 0 and 75 hundredths with vinculum is equivalent to 34 over 45. So there you have it. So let's move on now to our last example. So what if we have 0.23594 with vinculum on top of 9 and 4? Let's express this one or convert this one into fraction form by simply applying the formula. So n is equal to, it says that all terms after the decimal, so all terms, so we have 23594, so we will write everything except for the 0. Minus the non-repeating terms. So do you know what are the non-repeating terms? Yes, that are 2, 3, 5, because they do not have the vinculum on top. So 2, 3, 5. And then below, let's have the number of 9. How many repeating terms are there? We have 2, because we have 9 and 4. So which means we will write 2 9s. And then for the zeros, how many zeros we will going to write? Yes, we have, or we will going to write 3 zeros. Why? Because there are 3 non-repeating decimal. So 1, 2, 3. So let's simplify our equation. So we have n is equal to, so 23,594 minus 235 is equivalent to 23,359. So we just copy the denominator, 99,000. Since 23,359 and 99,000 doesn't have any greatest common factor, so therefore this is already the simplest form. In other words, this one is equivalent to 23,359 over 99,000. Since we are done already expressing decimal to fraction form, so let's have an exercise. Now you try this. Express the following decimal form to fraction form. Just write your answer on the comment box. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.